WTF is Retail, presented by Excellent Zephyr.
So we've kind of got to the point of how you got started working with Ted Baker. Really interesting backstory there. But during your time at Ted Baker, what were kind of like the biggest challenges you had in growing the brand? Is there any story or particular scenario that stands out to you where there was a certain challenge and you had to overcome it? Could you tell us a little bit about?
Yeah, I mean, probably the single biggest challenge is something that, and I would say that I can't actually remember exactly how this decision came about, but it was a decision that affected us in a good and a bad way. So we early on, I sort of remember it that Ray made some comment about not liking advertising, not liking fashion advertising, and it was all much the same and a bit boring. And I had a similar view from, like, if you opened a magazine, you could cover up the brand name and no one would know what product it was. You know, Prada, Boss, Gucci, whatever. I mean, maybe you would if you really know what your stuff, but the general public wouldn't know. So we both had this view that it was a bit pointless, and he was very much about, I want to do something more direct marketing, and he'd had this idea that we should make our windows really, really like incredible, moving windows to create excitement. But when we used to tell the city that, like years later when we floated the business, you tell the city you don't advertise, and they're just horrified. You know, how can you have a fashion business and not advertise? I mean, it'd be like, a young brand today saying we're not going to use social media. It'd be a similar kind of stupid thing to say. So yes, it was a challenge, but it was a challenge that 100% I agreed with. I didn't like that. I didn't like TV, radio, or print advertising the way that it was done. And I love the idea of trying to come up with creative things in terms of direct marketing to customers. So we did all sorts of weird and wonderful things to get attention. So one of the most memorable ones was, and this came out, again, my memory of it is it was a brainstorming meeting, and the idea kind of grew into something ridiculous. And it started out with Ray saying, I want to give the customer, when they buy a shirt, give them something they're not expecting. Just whatever it could be. So I don't know who said it, him, me, someone else around the table, but we basically came up with the idea of, why don't we give them a goldfish? And again, I'm looking at you guys, you're too young to remember this. When you went to the fair when you were a kid, you'd play the various games where they sort of cheat you can't get the ball in the bowl. But there'd be goldfish bowls with goldfish in them, and you throw the ball into the bowl, and if you got it, you won that goldfish, and you took it home in a bag. Right. So your parents will 100% know what I'm talking about. They will know what I'm talking about. So we're all laughing about it. It's quite funny to us, all the same generation. We get this goldfish and we just give them a goldfish in the bag. Well, we can't give them a real goldfish. So then it became, well, let's carve a carrot into the shape of a goldfish. And then there's a meeting went on. It was like, let's suspend the goldfish on a string so it's not even touching the water. Let's dye the water blue so it's really kind of looks quite showy. And then let's write hand wash only on the bag. And then the most important bit, it was a bit Monty Python surreal, was when they bought the shirt, or in the store, we did a few other things by this time, we'll hand them the goldfish and say nothing and walk away. And then when they said, well, why have you given me this? Go, well, don't you normally get a goldfish when you buy something? And of course they'd say no. Go, well, you do in Ted Baker. What would then happen though, they would go and tell lots of people. Now this was viral marketing in its purest form, because they'd go and tell them, I was in Ted Baker yesterday and I've got a goldfish when I bought my... and then people would come and go, are you the shop that gives out the goldfish? Now that really spiraled into something I'd say is my proudest, probably nearly my proudest achievement in the company. 1994, one of my colleagues said to me, the World AIDS Day, the first World AIDS Day, the red ribbon that's ubiquitous now, that was released and coming out for World AIDS Day. And he said, my colleague said, can we put a poster up in the shop announcing World AIDS Day and support it in some way? Just before that, I'd had a bit of a row with Ray over putting a poster up for a club, clubs, because we had tie-ins with clubs. So I said to the guy, no, we can't put a poster up. Ray went nuts when I wanted to put can't advertise another business, but this is charity. So I said, what else have they got? And he said, well, they got this red ribbon. I didn't know what it was because it was new. I said, well, it sounds quite cool though. Well, we'll have the red ribbon, we'll have the little box, and we'll put that on the counter, and that'd be great. And then I said to him, what about if we gave every customer a condom? And he was just laughing. He was in London, I was in Sheffield. And he was laughing his head off. He said, you can't give customers condoms. We're all like little schoolboys going, condom. It's rude. So I said, no, we can, it'd be great for a week, just for World AIDS Day. We'll give them a condom, we'll support safe sex. I mean, it was the days of, in the cinemas, icebergs, and it's everyone's going to die from AIDS, and it's going to be the biggest catastrophe on the planet. And effectively, I created with our graphics team a condom packet. I'm doing this, you can't see this on, we can see it on the video. A condom packet that was like a little matchbook, cover, and my clever idea was to write all of the branch names on the back of the packet. And if you've got a condom inside it, I was thinking most guys will take the condom. We were menswear only in those days. They'll take the condom and they'll keep it because it's useful. Dead useful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I even think that some people came into the shop to buy a shirt rather than going to a chemist and buy a condom because it's,
Yeah.
oh, got one of those condoms, mate, and take the condom.
Yeah.
So we did the first one, but I actually rang Ray up and he told me not to do it. He said, it's a stupid idea, don't do it. But I went ahead and did it anyway because, again, I told you I'm a bit feisty, full of myself.
Do what you want.
He then went into the shop on that Saturday, which I didn't think he was going to do, at the Covent Garden store, but he rang me up and he went, these condoms, and my heart sank. I thought, I'm going to get the bollocking of all time here. And then he said, they're great, aren't they? The customers are loving them, it's brilliant. So that was that. Fast forward 6 weeks, new window for January, into January, because it was December the 1st we did that. He rang me up and he said, where are the condoms? And I went, oh no, it was just for World AIDS Day, Ray, we didn't do it for, no, that's it. He went, no. He said, they're great, they're part of the brand now. I want a condom designed to go with the window schemes. Whatever the window scheme was, the design went onto the condom packet. And for the next, I don't know, dozen years, every 6 to 8 weeks when a new window went in, a new condom design came out. I believe we had people that came to collect just the condoms. Yeah. They're hysterical. If you see, I've got the collection at home.
Oh, really?
When you see them, it's like something like, I don't know, 200 different condom packet designs. Just, I won't say it on here because some of it's rude, but whenever you put something on a condom packet, the whole meaning of it changes, shall we say? So you could put something quite innocent on a condom packet in the theme of whatever it was. Better in than out, for example. Like we having a cabinet reshuffle was one of our windows, and it said on the condom packet, better in than out. So it suddenly becomes rude on a condom packet.
Yeah.
So that was just great fun. And actually, when we launched in America, someone said to me, you definitely can't give condoms out to Americans. And this was a guy in America, one of our guys, a Brit, running our New York store. He said, they'll be offended. And I said, you watch me. We started giving condoms out in America. They weren't like Brits. They were like, hey man, give me 6. I'm having a good night tonight. They were like, they were cool with it. Whereas Brits were like, oh, could I possibly have a condom?
Yeah.
So the condom thing was funny and hilarious, and it wasn't bandwagon jumping, and it wasn't laddish. It was actually meant for a very, very, very good reason, to protect people. Now, you wonder now, unwanted pregnancies and saving people from sexual disease, we played our part. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, lovely.
Absolutely.
WTF is Retail, presented by Excellent Zephyr.